Welcome everybody to the 18th and probably penultimate online mystery chocolate tasting. If you don't know me, I think you all do, but I'm Jennifer Earle, and I am an international chocolate judge and the founder of Chocolate Ecstasy Tours. And these have been a lot of fun. So thank you for some of you who have joined for, I think, almost every single one or every single one. I'm really excited to be doing these and sad that this is the second last one. At times they are changing. Okay, so this one was the first time that I received a box from the chocolatier where I hadn't tasted any of the chocolates, but I trust Karen implicitly. And I can tell you this has been, tasting these has been one of my favorite boxes. And it was fun because I had to do the guessing as well for once instead of knowing all the flavors. So I only found out the flavors today. And I think you're going to like them. Definitely interesting. Cool. We're excited. Please use the chat. If you're not familiar, down the bottom of your Zoom screen. And yeah, so say hi, tell us where you're from. And yeah, then thanks, Dom. And yeah, then we'll get started on the tasting. So if you, I think most of you have joined us before, but just in case, I know Michael hasn't, so he'll at least need the rundown. The important things that you should have apart from your chocolates are the tasting sheet. If you want to take notes, you absolutely don't have to, but I think it's fun because I always recommend you try and save some of the chocolate to try at the end after you've tasted all 6 chocolates, because there is no perfect order to chocolate tasting. What you taste will influence the next thing you taste, and so it's good to be able to have a little bit left so you can try them in a different order and see if maybe later on tonight or tomorrow morning, if you can possibly wait that long, you might be able to taste them differently, like the flavors that you perhaps didn't get the first time round. You might be like, oh, there it is, because it's so like, even you can be an international chocolate judge and still find that some days you can pick up on the flavor and other days not so much. So that is, yeah, important. And then the other thing that I find is a great cheat sheet is the chocolate tasting wheel. So around the outside are flavors that you can find in naturally in plain dark chocolate, which is more flavor complex than any other food found on the planet. So although we're not trying plain chocolate bars, this is also helpful to jog your memory. If you think you can taste a flower or a fruit, you can then start at the center, work your way around, or just read around the entire edge until something goes, yes, that's it. And so yeah, use this to try and help you guess the flavor. So please guess in the chat when we start tasting, share what you think the flavors might be. It's really hard to guess, so I don't always say this at the beginning of the tastings. Even if you are a very experienced chocolate taster, the fact that there are so many flavors that you can find just in chocolate means that sometimes that can be confusing. So when you think you're tasting licorice, it's actually coming from the chocolate rather than from the filling. And so yeah, don't be shy about guessing. I often find when I'm tasting, one day I'll taste some flavors and the next day I'll taste different ones. So they're generally quite consistent, but it is totally possible. So please don't be shy. That is my request. What else do we need to know? The reason I suggest you have warm water is because it will help to cleanse your palate. So I'll try and do some bit of chatting about each chocolate in between, so we have at least a little break. The aim is to get through all 6 chocolates by 9 p.m, so within an hour. And then we'll ask Ryan and Karen questions. So I will introduce them properly to you now. If anyone has any questions, pop them in the chat and I will get to them. Okay, are we ready? So firstly, I will introduce and thank our special guest who will be tasting these chocolates for the first time along with all of you, Ryan Panchoo from Borough 22. I mean, he's from other places too, but his company is Borough 22, and he makes vegan and gluten-free donuts, which are pretty special. They sell in all 3 Selfridges and then online, so DHL. He used to sell them in coffee shops and things, but now you can only get them from him, which I think is a very wise move, or Selfridges. So Ryan has been making these donuts since 2014. So he's a business veteran, and I'm hopeful that we can ask him some questions. Did anyone make his chocolate cake yet? I was going to make it on the weekend and then I went out instead, but I'm going to make it. So if you do make it, please tag him and me. And yeah, I'm sure it's delicious. Is it based on Rav's recipe?
Yeah, so took Rav's recipe. Like we're gluten-free and dairy-free in my house, so I always try and adapt it where I can. And just adapted it, just tweaked it a little bit, and it just works so well, just like the original recipe.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining and agreeing to be a special guest. Ryan came along as just a guest in Vegan Tasting last January. And we've only met in person once, but it felt like I'd known him forever. And he is a lot of fun. So I was like, please be my guest. So thank you. And then the chocolatier that I mentioned that I trust implicitly, who has made all the chocolates for this evening, Karen Waller of Tempt York, also of other places, but that is her business. And she launched the business during lockdown. Is that right? Or was it just before?
Yeah, no, 9 months ago. Yeah, so right in the middle of lockdown. Yeah.
But I believe it is flourishing. It is, I got it wrong. It is the second fully plant-based vegan chocolate shop in the country. And Karen has been making chocolates for a very long time. She was the head chocolatier at Rococo. And while she was there, the whole time that she was there, she entered many chocolates into the Academy of Chocolate Awards, which won many golds and also silvers and bronzes. So she is extremely talented. And yeah, I just love what she's doing with the vegan chocolates now. So she's now vegan, and so all of her chocolates are plant-based. And as I think I mentioned, the white and milk chocolate, she wasn't happy with any of the vegan alternatives that were available. So she decided to make her own. So this, what you have, this milk and white in this, is made from scratch, from either cocoa butter or beans from Karen. So yay. Any questions? Do you have anything to add, Karen?
No, that does to start with. It's good.
So there's some really interesting ingredients in this that have some really nice stories as well. So I'm looking forward to sharing them with you. Right, on to the chocolate. The first one that we are going to taste is, I have to remember, I believe it's the really cool looking wavy one, but I will
the wavy one, yeah.
So there's no confusion. Share screen. So, yeah, the one that's kind of got 3 lumps. That's this one here. There we go. Got it? Cool. And then just in case you're not sharing it, in case you don't have a knife to cut it, like maybe go and grab one if you don't. But that's what it looks like inside. Coming. There's always a risk. If I press it too many times, you'll get the chocolate flavor revealed. Why is it not? I'm not going to risk this. I'm going to, there we go. I'll share it now, but it's definitely, okay. How does that look? Has it not come up yet? So I keep saying Michael James's screen sharing. There you go. Now you can see it. Yeah, so start hitting us up in the chat with what you think the flavor is. Oh yeah, earlier I meant to say the cake. When I said Rav's recipe, that's Ravneet Gill, who was my guest in October 2020. And you might know her as the judge from Junior Bake Off and the books that she's written. Peanut butter, peanut caramel, peanut caramel, peanut caramel. You guys are good. Okay, we're letting you off easy. We started easy. Let me stop the screen share. You think you can type if you want to chat. Yeah, you can type in there and chat. Yeah. Cool. Yes, peanut caramel, seeing lots of peanut caramel. Yes, you are all correct. And this is made with milked chocolate. Do you want to tell us about it, Karen?
Yeah, so I think one of the challenges when you're doing vegan chocolate at all is finding chocolate that's right. And like you said, when I started, all the chocolates that were available to me weren't what I wanted. I wanted something smooth and chocolatey, which a lot of vegan chocolates aren't, and they're quite dry. So my milk chocolate is made with Madagascan raised trade cocoa, so Chocolat Madagascar, their cocoa butter as well, unrefined organic sugars. Then for the creaminess, my milk substitute is local organic oats from literally down the road, fair trade cashew nuts and macadamia nuts. So it gives you a really nice milk chocolate that actually tempers really well as well, which a lot of the sort of big produce ones don't. And then caramel, obviously another thing that when you're going vegan, before I've been vegan for 2 years, and you think I can't make a caramel that's vegan, that's going to be really nice and luscious and give you everything that a caramel does, but it's just about good ingredients. So yeah, the organic coconut milk and the sugars, and I mean, I love peanut butter. There's peanut all over my shop. There's, you know, I do a peanut gianduja. I just love peanut. So it's combining those two things. And my aim is that you wouldn't know it's vegan. So my aim is that it's for everybody. So I hope
can I see a show of hands? If you don't have a camera, you can use the emoji to use like your hands under the reactions button. How many of you are actually vegan? I think not many in this group, but is there anyone actually vegan? Just one. Cool. So for those of you who aren't vegan then, or even if it depends on how long you've been vegan, would you know that was vegan? You can just, yeah, I'm not sure how to do a sign that says no in emojis. Yeah. Okay. So you wouldn't believe it's vegan. We do a thumbs up for that. Yeah. You wouldn't believe it's vegan. Which, you know, shouldn't, these days is now not, I think, like, it's not as much of a given as it used to be that it's a vegan is bad. Like things that are naturally vegan, you know, like hummus and dark chocolate have always been good, but then the replacements for things like milk chocolate and caramels and brownies and things used to be pretty awful. But these days, like, it's becoming much harder to tell, I think. But yeah,
things are changing quickly, aren't they? It's good. They're changing.
You can still find bad stuff. Yeah, Ryan, you didn't get to chip in. Everybody was just so quick off the mark with their peanuts. Anything to add, Ryan?
Oh, it's insane. I love it. So we do like a vegan salty caramel, and I know how difficult it is to try and get something that is not like a substitute. It doesn't feel like a substitute, as opposed to like, this is just insanely good. Like, honestly, I don't know how you managed to get it so set, but that's the best caramel I've ever tasted, like vegan caramel. Well, one of the best caramels I've ever tasted, like hands down. That's amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's caring about what I do, good ingredients and caring about what I do, and a lot of experience. But yeah, thank you. That means a lot. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, the caramels that she made at Rococo were phenomenal as well. The best that I tried to. I agree, Jess. I would. That's the only downside of this. Like, you can't quite extract the chocolate to taste it on its own. But you all should have added it to your order. But you can order from Karen directly. Still, that's fine. She sells her bars. She don't think you're selling the chocolates, filled chocolates yet, are you, online?
People just email me if they do want them, hopefully at some point, but people email me all the time, and yeah.
But you can buy the bars without having to send them to Karen, so they're available in the online shop. Cool, yes. All right, that was the first one. The next chocolate, let me share my screen so there's no confusion. Oh, and also you can see the reveal. So yeah, the tea, when we were typing this early, and yeah, we removed the tea. Nope, the tea is meant to be there. Don't think we said what your milk includes. Why is it not moving? Sorry. There's a second chocolate. I could have told you that one. I just didn't have it written down. The foil wrapped one, that's pretty easy to identify. If you're not cutting. So always when you're tasting, I recommend smelling the chocolate. Particularly when you cut it, it's a lot easier to smell like the filling. And because so much of our taste is connected to our sense of smell, if you smell it first, it kind of helps your chances of accurately guessing, basically. Some things come through much more on your orthonasal smelling versus your retronasal, so once it's in your mouth. So always try and remember to smell the chocolate first. And I will just close that down so anyone watching back on YouTube doesn't miss out. So I'm going to confess I did not get this. So feel no shame in guessing. And if you get it right, then, you know, maybe I need to give you a job or something. Good luck. Good luck with your guesses. Aniseed. I thought it like had fennel or licorice or something, but then I wasn't sure if that was coming from the chocolate or from the filling, because it was like an aftertaste for me after I finished it. Yeah, the milk chocolate is very good. Sorry, I'm talking about the previous one. Karen, did you say what your milk chocolate was made from? I might have.
And yeah, the local oats, fair trade cashew nuts and macadamia nuts.
Yes.
So yeah, it's the combination.
Yeah, I find that the best milk replacement chocolates are the ones that use the combination. But yeah, I think the macadamias is probably the key. And I don't know anyone else is doing it because macadamias are expensive.
Yeah, exactly, which is why it's, yeah, they are. But then all the ingredients are expensive if they're good, so.
That is true. But I think your chocolate, the bars and truffles are very well priced given the quality of the ingredients. Okay, so something floral, aniseed liqueur, quite floral, aniseed, herbaceous. Yes, those were all things that I said as well. I was like, is it like, what did I write in my original notes? I was like, is it fresh mint and fennel with violet? I don't know. I was like, not violet necessarily, but floral. Oh my God, Isabel. Hang on. Ryan, did you want to chip in? You're supposed to be talking here.
I'm trying to work it out. It's like, it's really quite, I know I've had COVID as well. So my.
Oh yeah, now you tell us. No, he has really, I know, yeah.
The first guess is. So I thought like aniseed, definitely mint and some kind of aniseed or some kind of spice, but I can't place it.
Yeah, so Isabel is correct, and it's okay because Isabel is a chocolate maker and a chocolate judge too, so I'm okay that she got it and I didn't. Or was it Karen? So Isabel and Karen on the same computer. The yeah, so ylang ylang. I'm going to let Karen talk about it. I've never tasted anything with it before, but I have had it in massage oils, I'm pretty sure. But I did do some investigation because I like to. And apparently it prevents aging. Yes. Well, I kind of like getting older. Like, I don't really want to prevent aging. That kind of equals death, isn't it? Anyway, I think it means visible signs of aging. But it also generates calm and improves your mood. So does coming on an online chocolate tasting. So it'll be hard to tell how much of it is the ylang ylang. It has to be picked at night, the flowers, and you need 100 kilos of flowers to be able to make 1 to 1.5 liters of the essential oil.
Wow.
So there's my facts. Wow. Now, Karen, tell us why you chose ylang ylang, please. And am I saying it correctly? I just like saying it.
Yeah, I think lang lang, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive fan of florals. That's why one of the reasons I ended up at Rococo years ago, rose and violet creams. I make my own fondant in the shop, so I use organic sugar. I temper it on the marble, so it's a bit less sweet than normal fondant. And yeah, I make rose and violet, but I wanted to explore other flowers where I could, but I'll always use organic essential oils, so I'm bound by what there is and what's deemed edible as well, which lang lang is. And as a fan of rose, I really like it. I think it's perfume. It has got those aniseedy notes as well, which is interesting. It has got the herbaceous notes. But yeah, it's in the Madagascan chocolate, and lang lang is a flower that grows in Madagascar. The oil's actually from Madagascar, so I think it's a beautiful match, the two together, that it's all part of the story. But yeah, I just love florals, and it's really unusual. I've never eaten lang lang before, and I think it's just good to have something that takes people. It's so hard these days. It's not as easy as it was 5 or 6 years ago even to find an ingredient that people haven't tasted before. Everyone's had everything. So yeah, it's really nice to have something that is new for people.
Yeah. So look how I spoil you guys. I introduce you to all these tastes. We've had some very interesting flavors in the past 18 tastings, 17 and tonight. It's interesting that it grows in Madagascar because there's a lot to be said about foods that grow in the same country or even like directly next to each other tend to pair really well for eating, like strawberries and mint and samphire and fish. Yeah. As soon as I found out what all the flavors were today, but I tasted them yesterday. And so going back to it, I was like, oh my God, yes, there's that massage oil I've got somewhere in my house. But yeah, I couldn't figure it out yesterday. Okay, the next chocolate that we're going to taste is the dome. I will share my screen, but if you want to get started, it's the dome. I think there's only one dome. Oh, sorry, there's a white chocolate looking dome and then a dark chocolate looking dome. So it's that one. This one here. Yeah, I'll share my screen so there's definitely no confusion. And oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do it. And for anyone who's at home, scrolling through, wants to find out what it is. That's the answer to the last one. Very slow for some reason. I'm clicking through. There we go. Okay. That's what it looks like inside. You're gonna come out with a lang lang donut, Ryan?
If I can get the price down on the ylang ylang, then maybe.
You just need a customer who wants something like super like exclusive. I'm sure you've got some of customers like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then you can get some gold leaf to put on top too.
Just to finish it off.
I remember on the Chelsea tour, the Sweet Treats Adventure, we used to go to PMA when they had one in Belgravia, and a customer came in and ordered, I think, 500 of just the truffle, the white truffle macarons, which are the white one, because the party was like, she didn't want the crumbs, and it was the white themed party, and yeah, that's upset. My invite got lost. Sorry, it's so funny. It's such a dad joke. Right. Okay. Rose and pistachio. Rose or geranium.
Yeah, definitely rose. I could taste that straight away. I should have said that straight away, actually. Now I look like I've just copied everyone else.
Well, there is another ingredient, so here's your chance, Ryan.
Not coconut, is it?
It might be coconut or some. No, I can't. I could read the ingredients, but we'll wait and do a full reveal. The rose, when you can't like get past smelling the rose, though. So yes, rose is correct.
I'm cutting it really small because I want to save as much for later as well.
I'm sorry, I completely messed up with the amount I asked Karen to make, because I was planning to send you 2 boxes, but there were 2 people that I forgot I was sending things to.
You can't tell me that now, can you?
Very sorry. Sorry to your wife. Just know you're doing this right. It's fine. She won't expect it.
Yeah, let me just turn the volume down. Hang on a sec.
Sorry, Mads. Okay, I can't read these messages. Why not? Oh, tiger nut. That's a good guess. Oat cream, cola nut. I don't think I've ever tried cola nut. So rose and pistachio. So yesterday when I tasted this, what did I write? I wasn't sure if there was cardamom in there. Now I can't taste that at all. But when I tried it again this afternoon, I could taste the ingredient that it is. That's not helpful, is it? Okay, shall I reveal? Let me do it via the screen. And then we'll get Karen to talk about it.
Coriander.
It hasn't showed up for them yet. Did you hear Michael just whisper it?
Yeah,
No, it's fine. It's funny. So yeah, coriander, and that's coriander seeds, not the leaf. If you're familiar, they are quite different. They seem really orangey. So now if you might have some in your house. After this, you can go and find them and compare. Karen, tell us your inspiration, please.
Yeah, it's one of those. Coriander seeds, actually one of the flavors I had in France a few years ago in a chocolate. It's got such really nice citrus and floral notes, but also some quite low notes. Someone picked up, I think, something roasted, and that is the coriander seed. It's the roasted notes in the coriander seed. It gives you almost a nuttiness as well, and it is in a macadamia gianduja. So it's a macadamia gianduja tempered with white chocolate, and then with the roasted coriander seed and the rose together, they just fuse quite nicely, and it's just a nice citrusy floral combination, I think.
Yeah, it's funny, like if you had done it just with rose, like it would be really obvious the difference, I think, if you tried them side by side.
Yeah.
Like, notice, like it's like when was it a couple of months ago when we had I think it was a mango, but there was lime in it as well. I was like, I'm sure they're lime, and like the lime wasn't super obvious, but it just kind of lifted the mango. I think it was mango. It was kumquat. Was it kumquat? Anyone remember? Anyway, it's beautiful. I love it. It's fascinating to me how different the coriander seeds taste to coriander leaf, same plant. Okay, we how many we've done? We've done 3. Let's go to the 4th chocolate. This one will be easy to tell you, but I will share my screen. It is the white chocolate looking dome. I don't want to give anything away, so I think that's the one we're doing next. Yes. I like Blue Peter, like when I just sniff off to the, there we go. And if you're biting rather than cutting, that is what the middle looks like. Okay, your chance now, Ryan. I'm kidding. I never expect anybody to speak straight away because flavor takes a little while to come out, and also when you have had something that's quite floral.
Coffee, yeah. Oh, damn it, Phil. Definitely tastes coffee.
Yeah. You think I'd put coffee at the end, right? But I didn't, because like, so generally if you're doing a tasting, something like coffee or floral would probably come at the end, but when you have both coffee and floral, what do you do? Coffee and rose, I should say. Which, you know, might mean that the last taste is really intense, or it just means that I was afraid that there are always people who don't like floral and don't like coffee, and I didn't want you to finish with something that you didn't love. So yes, coffee is one of the ingredients, but keep going.
That is beautiful though. The texture of that is it a ganache in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing. I love it. Can I just go back to the last one and just ask Karen, like, how you came up with the, like, why did you choose that combination? What made you choose that combination?
The coriander and rose.
Yeah, did you sit down and was like, wow?
So I don't know. So, I mean, obviously trying to think of unusual things for this, but I think my brain's always just worked in this flavour will work with this flavour sort of way, and what will balance things and what will be interesting, or things just happen.
A gift.
You picked up at Rococo, would you say? Or is that a skill something you just had that that's just grown?
I'd say it was enhanced by Rococo, because it's something that it's very important to do things that are a little bit different and innovative. So it definitely enhanced that skill and pulled out of me, but I think more the necessity of invention and innovation, because what I wanted to do when I was there was sort of refresh everything and renew everything. So that was part of my thing, was putting new flavors.
I thought I'd get rid of the shadow, it didn't work. This, I can only say, this chocolate for me is so reminiscent of the chocolate mousse my mum used to make, which had a lot of alcohol in it. It was it's just, and the alcohol, you are all correct, and Jess got it right first. It is whiskey, and by a twist of fate, probably the fact that, like, it's from where my husband is from, I have the whiskey in my hand. Well, one version of the company, it might not be the same one. This is the STR finish, whatever that means. Filey Bay whiskey from Yorkshire. I'll let Karen tell you about it though.
I mean, this chocolate I love. It's one, I think my pralines are something that I'm really proud of, because, you know, I look at that chocolate, I've made the praline with nuts that I ship from Piedmont in Italy, and then there's a ganache. You know, the white chocolate's made with the local organic oats. The ganache is the Filey whiskey, so it's not the STR. That's done, I think it's a wine cask or a sherry cask, that one. So this is the flagship. But yeah, it's just their classic whiskey. But there's so many really good food companies in Yorkshire. Filey Bay whiskey I love because it's field to bottle, so they also farm the barley that makes the whiskey. And it's a really good whiskey. Any whiskey lover would actually really enjoy it. So it's combined here with a Solomon Islands dark chocolate, which is smoky in itself. So that ganache is the Solomon Islands. And then my white chocolate, I think with the coffee as well, the coffee is Mexican coffee, which is quite fruity. So that goes quite nicely with the whiskey, fruitiness of the whiskey. And the whole combination to me is just like I used to love Irish coffee, and I think it comes together with the creaminess of the chocolate as a bit like an Irish coffee.
Yeah, my mum likes an Irish coffee. She's Irish, and it's the only time she drinks coffee is if it's got lots of whiskey and whipped cream. Occasionally she'll drink a cappuccino when she's out. Yes, Juan, there is vanilla in the white chocolate. Good spot. Is there any particular reason you put vanilla in the white chocolate? Does it kind of need
it's to create just a really nice, luxurious white chocolate. Being vegan chocolate, I can't even actually legally call it chocolate. That's illegal. It's one of those really redundant terminology things. So I call it my vanilla white. And then, because I don't want to use this everywhere, you know, it's craziness. So yeah, it's vanilla white. It's the white chocolate that I sell as a bar, and it's got Tahitian vanilla and Madagascar vanilla pods in it. So it's just really deep and just a really nice. I mean, with milk chocolate, with white chocolate, you taste the dairy. So I need something else in there that's going to taste of something. So the nuts gives me the texture and the luxuriousness, and then the vanilla gives me a lovely flavour.
That's cool. Phil's asked if you can call it couverture. Probably could, but I don't know if anyone would know what it means, I guess.
Yeah, not the it's for professionals, isn't it? Or connoisseurs, but not for the general public.
The amount of times I've walked into a chocolate shop and it's like, what chocolate do you use? And they're like, dark chocolate. And I'm like, what couverture do you use? And they're like, what? Okay, I probably don't want to buy your chocolate then if you don't know what couverture means. And I'm not sure that you know enough about chocolate to make me want to buy from you. I'm so judgy. Yeah, that was beautiful, but I'm gonna not finish it because it's late and I'm very caffeine sensitive. The next chocolate we're going to taste is the red oblong. Well, you know, it's got some red on it. So yeah, you should have a square that does not look red, and then an oblong that looks red. I'll show you a picture for anyone watching at home. You're all watching at home, but watching on the catch-up. Where's the coffee from the last one from, Karen?
Mexico.
Sorry,
it has been roasted, but yeah, it's Mexican origin.
Is it, you don't know who, like, is it roasted in Yorkshire as well?
No, at the moment I use Has Been. I'm looking at a Yorkshire roaster, but Has Been do such nice coffee that at the moment I'm sourcing from them.
Oh, cool.
But yeah.
The company that is connected to, so this is the inside for anybody who's in the very exciting. The company that oh no, I forgot the name. The one near HR Higgins, the really old coffee shop that used to roast their own on site in near Selfridges. Their like sister company is a Yorkshire coffee company. Quite a diverse, but I have their contact details if you want to be introduced. Then happily send you some, I'm sure.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Raspberry hibiscus or raspberry. Hey Ryan, where are you? Your turn.
Back now. I was going to say raspberry. Like initially, I thought raspberry, but I don't think it is, and I can't tell unless it's raspberry and some kind of something floral.
Could be. That's the other thing about guessing. As soon as you, sorry, I'll come back to that. As soon as you mix flavors as well, like jelly belly. What are they? The jelly beans that you like then come up with a flavor that completely something totally new and hard to pick out the individual flavors so that it started with. So you are correct. It is raspberry and floral, and Dom knows this flavor well. So Isfahan is not a flavor. It's not an individual ingredient. But it is the name of a Pierre Hermé flavor combination. And that has, it was a very, very good one. Now a classic in the pastry world. Yes, it is raspberry and rose, what Ben said, plus lychee. Which is like, I feel like lychees are kind of a combination of like rose. They kind of taste quite rosy on their own as well. And lychees or lychees are very floral in themselves. Yeah. What do you think now that you know? Can you detect it all? I only picked up on the raspberry and rose.
Yeah, I'll just get the raspberry and rose. I think this one's my favorite so far.
It's beautiful, isn't it? How many of you have been to PMA and had something Isfahani? Yes, friends in Boston. John, we've been together. Phil, have you? Of course, right? Okay, so for those of you who haven't, I'm going to implore you, when you're next able to visit Paris, please go to one of the 2 of his shops that sell patisserie as well and buy the Ispahan croissant. It's not in all of his shops. The macaron sold in the UK ones and the cake, but the croissant is incredible. It has icing on it, which would normally just like frosting, which would make me completely repelled, but it is phenomenal. Yeah, and Ed Kimber agrees with me. It's one of the best croissants to ever have existed. Yes, worship in the temple of BMA, we all do. He is yeah, amazing. There is still a PMA in Seven Dials. They just have cakes and they do have a couple of individual desserts now, but they're actually, I said this, I was given the impression they'd be like this, but they're actually like this, so they're like £40. So yeah, not just, well, maybe for one person. Okay, Karen, tell us your inspiration, please.
So yeah, my inspiration is Pierre Hermé because yeah, I used to live in Paris, so probably about 13 years ago, I lived in Paris just around the corner from the Pierre Hermé in Saint-Germain. So I used to go around there.
The croissants.
Yeah, too. And the Ispahan croissant, I agree, I think it's the best viennoiserie to ever exist.
Yes.
And it's one of the few things as a vegan I am going to sorely miss. And I've got blow up pictures of the first one I had because it's just so insane. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful flavour combination that it's never really been absorbed into the UK. I think it's a shame because it's such and with us having rose as such a classic English flavour. So yeah, this is the raspberry jelly. So I split it off because I've done the 3 bit together before, but I think it's nice to have the texture in there. So you've got the raspberry jelly and then the lychee and rose ganache. So they are separated. And then you get the hit from the freeze-dried raspberry as well. So obviously, because everything I do is as natural as possible, my colours coming from the freeze-dried raspberry. But yeah, I think the flavour once you can, when you're a chocolatier, it's very interesting how flavours change. Like, because when you make any chocolate on the first day that's got multiple flavours, those flavours are so definable, and then after like a few days, they do sort of amalgamate, and it becomes rose lychee raspberry instead of rose lychee raspberry. So it does become one. And yeah, but Ispahan, it is Pierre Hermé. So if it wasn't for France and my experiences in France over the year, I probably would never have become a chocolatier. It's French chocolatiers and my love of chocolate over there and their passion and their inspiration and the way it's viewed over there as an art. That's the reason I am a chocolatier. So that's why this one's here. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool. His chocolate is so amazing. I find that fascinating. Like, and it must be so challenging as a chocolatier to have to, when you make something, you need to try it at the end of when you expect and tell people it's going to be good, still good enough to eat. Because like if you put fresh mint or basil into a chocolate and you want it to be tasted at the end, because it really kind of fades away. And so it can be quite strong when you first try it and almost too strong, and finding that balance between something that's not too strong at the beginning when it's freshly made and then not like non-existent by the time it gets into people's hands. So yeah, you do magic work. I'm very, very impressed by you and all of the other chocolatiers that I'm hugely impressed by. Okay, the final chocolate. If you have some water, you probably want to like have a little sip of water because that's quite a strong one. Does anyone have a question? I feel like we should maybe have a little bit of a pause because we should just savor that chocolate for another moment before we put a new one in our mouth. And because it's quite strong in a very good way. I just want to enjoy it for another minute. Any questions? Well, your favorite so far. That's nice. Is everyone okay if I just like ask a question or two so that we can just like, you've had enough chocolate for the moment? Never enough chocolate. I know, but you can pause. So I'm going to ask Ryan what his favorite ever chocolate or like chocolate experience, whether it was a cake or a tart or a filled chocolate. Can you tell me?
Yeah, I am going to tell you, but I'm not. He's here. He is here, and I didn't know it was coming when I formulated the answer to this question. So we went to Harrods very recently. I think it was at the start of this year, and I was looking around in the dessert hall, and I saw this, like, it was like a chocolate case, dome. Yes, dome, technical term, dome case. It was filled with like this chocolate mousse, which had like raspberries in it, I'm sure, and then like a biscuit base. And it was insane, like absolutely insane. You had like all the textures, the flavor. It wasn't too like overly sweet. It was pure indulgence. The mousse was like air. And then the biscuit, I love like chocolate and raspberries. That's like my weakness.
Okay.
It was completely vegan, completely 100% vegan. You would never ever know. And that as the best thing, the best chocolate dessert. I was gonna say my wedding cake initially. It was a chocolate cake, but this was sublime, honestly. So Phil, thank you very much for putting that into the world, and all the effort put into that. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I don't know if is it still available?
It is. You can come off mute if you want, Phil. Phil gave me this and a few of the other desserts for my birthday in November, when I popped into Harrods to say hello, and I brought them home and shared them with my husband and his parents, and that was their favorite as well. And then I told them it was vegan. The other ones were not vegan. And yeah, they all just thought it was like, this one's good. It was kind of a scrape the plate because we divided it into four, which was, very, very, I kind of had to share it, but next time I'm going to go back and get one just for myself. It's delicious. And that seems like a very good time to tell you all that our special guest, you're all my wonderful guests, but my special guest for extra special, I don't know. Anyway, the person who's going to talk, like Ryan is tonight, in February, will be Philip Curry, who is pastry chef at Harrods, and has done many other fascinating things, which we will hear about next month. But he is particularly skilled at making vegan desserts, but all desserts. And I'm still hoping that at some point in the year, the plans I had with Harrods, with Alistair, to create a special box of chocolates that I'll post out to everybody, and then we'll hear from Alistair. I do try not to have the special guest be a chocolatier, because it feels a bit weird to have a chocolatier judging other chocolatiers judge chocolates. Well, not judging, but commenting on. So yeah, we're going to hear from Phil next month. And if you read the email I sent today, Paul A. Young, who was a special guest in the second tasting, and he, when we were just doing bars, he is going to be producing at least one of the chocolates in the box. So I'm going to try and get all the chocolatiers who produce the final chocolates to come on the call as well. So Paul's going to want to talk, so it's going to be fun. Yeah. Okay, shall we have the last chocolate? Unless you want to say something, Phil. Feel free to come off mute if you'd like to.
I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm really enjoying this, Karen. Amazing work. Some really stunning chocolates today, so thank you.
Good, thank you.
Sorry, you didn't know you were going to have to talk. I'm sorry. And you're going to be joining us next month from sunny Australia, which is I'm quite jealous. But that means like getting up at 7 in the morning, I think. Sorry. If you're late, so that's why. Okay, the final chocolate. I think it's fairly obvious, but I will share my screen for the sake of the people watching on catch up. The square, and then I can also show you the inside. And make sure that was the last one. That takes a second. So that's the one we just tasted. And the final chocolate. Yeah, sorry, that picture's not so good. And that's what it looks like inside. Got it? Very good. Ah, that's interesting. Membrillo or membrilla? Makes like mulberry. Oh, I missed some messages. Okay, cardamom toffee, gingerbread, caramel, ginger and honey. Okay. I honestly really struggled to decide what my favorite was in this selection. Thank you so much, Karen, for making such an interesting variety in terms of textures, like fondants and layers and crunch. And it's like, that's what I want my chocolate to be, to have a mixture of milk, white, dark, and textures and flavors. And yeah,
it's part of showing what vegan chocolate can be as well, isn't it? That you can do all of those things. It's like,
yeah. You didn't join last year, did you, for the one that I did in January?
No.
That was 6 different vegan chocolates from 6 different chocolatiers. And it was really impressive. I had people who've been to like all of them at that point who said that was their favorite box, and it was all vegan.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really, we had the, no, I think it was the caramel was from Chocolatier, and vegan, the raspberry one from Loudon. Can't remember all the others. Okay, so let me keep reading. Gingerbread, Lebkuchen, that's right. Which is a German version of gingerbread, same thing. Molasses or treacle, cardamom and treacle, ginger and honey. Read that one already. Okay, your turn, Ryan.
I was going to say ginger, and I thought cardamom as well.
Just so good. That's all we really need to know, isn't it? So good. Ginger, I noticed the cinnamon when I tasted it. I was like, there are other spices in here too, but I was struggling to get what the ones apart from cinnamon were. Yeah, I'm just going to enjoy it. But I will let Karen tell you about this chocolate, because it requires a longer explanation, I think, than just me telling you what the ingredients are.
So yeah, the inspiration for this is Grenadian cocoa tea. So if anybody's had that, it's something that you get a lot in Grenada. I was lucky enough, it was always one of my dreams. Even before I worked at Rococo, I was a big fan of the Grenada Chocolate Company. And when I worked at Rococo, I was lucky enough to go over there, work for a few days at the Grenada Chocolate Company, and then I exchanged my truffle and caramel making knowledge for their chocolate making knowledge. And everywhere you went, you had Grenadian cocoa tea, sometimes made with cocoa, sometimes made with cocoa balls, which is rough ground cocoa. And in there you've got grenade. So all of the spices that are in this are Grenadian as well. They're still ones that I brought back from there. So big long cinnamon sticks broken up. So cinnamon, bay, what else have I put? Grenadian cloves, nutmeg. So the whole lot comes together, and it's the chocolate. The caramel is chocolate as well. It's a chocolate mousse caramel. So that's made with 100% Grenadian chocolate. So all together in there. And then the outside is Grenadian chocolate, and even the cocoa on top is Grenadian cocoa. So the whole thing is very Grenadian. But yeah, it's a flavour that is synonymous with Grenada, that whole combination. And it does go a little bit like chai or gingerbread spice or something altogether, but it's that clove aspect that I think takes it towards the Caribbean, but the fusion, and I think because you've got the mousse caramel, the chewiness of it, all the flavours really come out, and yeah, it takes me back there.
Yeah, as soon as you told me what it was and I tried it again, I was like, oh my God, that's it. I went in 2010. I was due to go back in May 2020. Yeah, oh well, one day. But the tea's available like everywhere, and then I brought some back as well. And so you have this bag. I'm not even sure when I got around to using it, but it just, that smell of it as well is so fabulous, how it all intersects and becomes this other thing. It is beautiful, and I'm such a big fan of chewy caramels. I can't, like, a lot of the time when I've had vegan versions of this, the coconut's been quite strong, and this is like indetectable. It tastes like it could be made with butter to me.
Yeah, it's got the luxuriousness, hasn't it? And yeah, I think that's part of the thing when you are trying to do plant-based chocolate and edge away from that. I think it's all down to quality of ingredients as well. If you use a cheaper coconut milk that's full of gums, that coconut flavour can be really intense, but I'm using a really beautiful, mild, organic coconut milk, so that helps. And then yeah, just infusing everything together, and the depth of flavour that's in the Grenadian cocoa anyway. And it's about, whenever I'm doing something using coconut milk, it's about trying to balance that flavor out. And that's something that I think you just get over the years. What do I need to put in to change that a little bit? But yeah, I mean, coconut as well, luckily it goes, doesn't it? Even if it's in there somewhere, that's a Grenadian flavor, so it's all good.
So Philip's asked, do you have a favorite milk alternative? Do you mean for like making a caramel, or like for a coffee or a hot chocolate? In chocolates.
In chocolates, for actual chocolate, or for ganache? Is that?
So like in your ganaches, or even like, do you have like any kind of, you know, vegan milk powders, or are you using nuts and oats only in your
my chocolate itself? Yeah, for my chocolate itself, I'm literally using local organic oats and powdering them myself, because there's no other way I can get that local aspect to what I do. And then because I want ethical cashew nuts as well, I'm having to grind them myself because I can't get them as a paste. So yeah, for chocolate itself, it's that. For ganaches, sometimes it's fruit puree, or you know, an alcohol and essentially a water-based ganache. Coconut milk if it works. If not, almond milk works well. But it is that thing about balancing flavors, isn't it? But for caramels, I always use coconut milk. So yeah, it's whatever works for the you remove that one thing cream fits all, isn't it? And it becomes something different. It's whatever works for what you need it for.
Yeah, so I just can't believe the difference between the two, like the first caramel, the peanut caramel, and this one. Like I guess the thickness of it, they're completely different. I just think it's amazing how you manage to get it like that kind of thick. And I'm smiling because my parents are from the Caribbean, and can you guess which island they're from?
Grenada.
Yeah, Grenada. You know, my nan lived 20 minutes from the Grenada chocolate plantation, and when we went there in 2012, and my great granddad, who I'm his namesake, well, my middle name is Jerome, so he was Ryan Panchoo. His name is in the book, like back from like the 1950s. So we searched through, and we found his name like in there. Yeah, it's amazing place.
So cool. Yeah. Oh, I'd recommend anyone to go to Grenada ever. Like, the people are just wonderful, and chocolate there now, because of the establishment of the Grenada Chocolate Company, it's totally changed life there for the farmers and the workers and everything. And it's such an, I think it's changed an awful lot of perception, and it's production at source, and there's so many important values and the organic side, and you know, it's a vegan company as well, which is like, you know, that's great. So yeah, but the island itself, beautiful, you know, walking along, and the nutmeg that's in there, you know, I picked off a tree as I walked along, you know, it's a fabulous place.
It's I think, like you said, not just the changed Grenada, but changed the whole chocolate world. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Grenada Chocolate Company was really the first small scale chocolate factory, and certainly definitely the first small scale in origin, you know, that was making bars like we know them, that were smooth. And it was created, it's kind of the brainchild of Mott Green, who I think passed away in 2014, maybe later.
Yeah.
He but with a local business partner and then another American. And Mott had already been living in Grenada, and he was pretty horrified at the price that the beans were sold at versus the bars that he saw when he went back to Whole Foods and places, Trader Joe's in the US. So he decided to figure out how to make chocolate. So he adapted lots of other machinery or built his own winnower and things. So we had a tour of the factory with him when we went, and I remember the winnowing machine that he made, like he built it outside of the factory, which was like a 2-story house that someone had lent him to convert. And then when he like put it back together, pulled it apart, put it back together in the room he planned for winnowing downstairs, the hopper at the top of the winnowing machine touched the ceiling. So like there was no space to put the beans in. So they just cut a hole in the floor. You have to go upstairs to tip the beans in to winnow them, which is cool. And his original conching machine was the grinder was would like lock up with it kind of a bit like when you've got an old or even a new mixer and you're baking a cake, and all the cake batter goes around the outside and you have to turn it off and get a spatula and scrape it back in so it keeps mixing. It was the same with the grinding machine that he was using. And so he set an alarm every 4 hours to get up in the night to keep the batches going, to scrape down the edges and keep it going. And when Chantel and James went to visit, because they've been involved with the Grenada Chocolate Company, it's Chantel that founded Rococo, they were just like, this is like a newborn. You're like, you can't wake up every 4 hours. Like, that's not sustainable. He was an amazing man though. As Karen said, it's a vegan chocolate company. Mott was vegan. He was really like, he never kind of told you about it, but you found out by talking to him, and he was really ahead of his time in so many ways in making a better planet. So he opened his doors to anyone who was interested in making chocolate, and really encouraged the growth of chocolate at source, so that more of the value added parts of the chocolate making production was done in the countries where really, like, that's where the money should be going. They're producing the cocoa, they should be making the money from the chocolate as well. So yeah, he's a legend. Very nice man. It is, I'm just reading Ryan's comment. Oh, sorry, I just went off on a little story there. Any questions or comments? I haven't picked up on anything in the chat. Yes, we should all go to Grenada. Are you guys going to come? You were going to join me when I went in May, weren't you? Yeah. Maybe. I don't think the Grenada Tourist Board has any money to pay for me to go anymore, but I'd be happy to pay for myself. Yes, we'll definitely go. Who's coming? Should we do a big group trip?
Yes.
Yes, let's do it. Oh my God, it'd be amazing. We Chocolate Ecstasy Tours goes global. We can do an international chocolate tour. I will definitely let you know when I'm going, and if anyone wants to come, I'll figure out some preferential hotel rates, and we can organize some trips and stuff. It'll be fun. Yay. Cool. Question. Yay as well. Oh yeah, and also for a group trip for that £40 Pierre Hermé large pastry. I did a private tour between Christmas and New Year and bought the chestnut cake for the group because there was 8 of them, and so I was like, yes, you need to try the chestnut and mandarin cake. It was delicious. And then I sent them home with the rest. So yeah, you just need to book a private tour with me, and then I'll buy you lovely things. Okay, I want to ask Karen the same question that I asked Ryan about, do you have a favorite chocolate experience, chocolate you've tasted? It can be your own, but you know, for someone.
A favorite chocolate experience. Gosh, I don't know, because there's been so, as you know yourself, doing judging, there's so many wonderful ones, isn't there, that come along.
Your mouse are on the call just in case.
well, but Isabel and Karen know what I think of their chocolate. I don't need to say it on here. They know I think it's wonderful, and it's always some of my favourite. But yeah, it's probably like, you know, it's probably a whole industry thing. It's that feeling when you go to, say, the Salon de Chocolat in Paris, or when we used to have the chocolate show in London, going around, and when you talk to someone and meet their chocolate, I think that's the things that I remember. It's those encounters with other chocolatiers and chocolate makers, or trying something from a country. Like the first time I ever found the Salon de Chocolat in Paris, it's a long time ago. It was 20 years ago plus that I actually went to the Salon de Chocolat. It was tiny. It was like 20 stands, whereas now it's probably 400. And that was my first experience of origin cocoa. You know, there was a Peruvian lady there with a metate grinding the beans, and it was the first time I tried Michel Cuisel and tried origin chocolates, because we didn't have that here, did we, 20 years ago? You know, so that's probably the most special, and that's what imprinted itself on me, that experience and that specialness, and that's why I'm with chocolate. So yeah, altogether, it's probably that Michel Cuisel experience and those people, the Peruvian lady with the metate and everything like that. That's the thing that affected me most and probably sticks with me.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Can I also just say that your curtains blinds look like chocolate bars from this angle? It's so perfect. It's essentially like you've got these three prints.
I really do.
Chocolate on the wall. It's a good decorating choice. I like it. I used to have so much brown in my house and so many like chocolate related things. I still do, but yeah, you can see blue walls now. Brighten it up a bit. So I'm going to repeat the question that was asked in the chat. So Ryan, if you can answer it so that anyone at home like might be interested as well. Matt, April and Esme asked, which are the donuts that you are most proud of? And which, so basically, which three should they order when they come to the UK?
Oh, right. Okay. I see. So I'm thinking just in Selfridges. I have to say my favorite still, it's the first donut I ever made. And I think it's because it's the most simple, is the cinnamon sugar. And I used to get the cinnamon from my nan's land. I can't say garden because it's massive. My nan's land, Grenada. So literally my dad used to go, he would go every year and he would bring me back cinnamon that he'd cut from the bark. Use that, he'd grind it up. We'd use that in the donuts. And he used to bring me back Grenada chocolate as well. He used to smuggle me loads. Like, I don't know how he stopped. How he didn't get stopped at Customs, but he used to get loads and bring it back for me to use. But unfortunately, he stopped going to. He can't go to Grenada as often, so that import-export thing kind of dried up. But definitely cinnamon. Cinnamon is a classic. It's the one I made. It reminds me of sort of the donuts that I used to get, like fresh donuts in the local market when I was younger. I would go for red velvet as well. I'm really proud of that one, that we were able to like incorporate beetroot powder. But the cocoa, we use like a vegan buttermilk as well. And it just all combines. It takes away like the beetroot powder completely. And it's not as sweet as the other ones, which I like as well. But then you've got like the vegan cream cheese. And I think the pairing between the two is just exceptional. And I put pistachio raspberry, but I would be torn actually. I would go for our cereal because I just think it's really, really good. It just works really well. So it's inspired by Christina Tossi from Milk Bar in America. So I watched her Chef's Table, went to sleep, had this dream, woke up, made this donut, and it was incredible. So we make our own. I don't think you would have Frosties over there, but we make our own Frosties. So we toast the cornflakes, and then we coat them in coconut milk powder, just a bit of caster sugar, a bit of sea salt, and then coconut oil, and we roast it for like 20 minutes. And then the milk, we take rice milk just because it's like the most allergen friendly like plant alternative. We take rice milk, we just make a massive bowl of cornflakes basically, and we leave that to just like seep, and then we strain it off and just take that milk. We use that milk for our glaze, so it's like a cereal glaze, and then we coat it with like the homemade Frosties, and that stuff is like crack. Honestly, I used to make it like double quantity because you just be like grazing and eating as you're like, one for me, one for the customer kind of thing. But it is really, really good. And I just like the texture between the two. Like it really keeps its like crunch. And then you've got obviously like the cakiness of the donut as well. So I would go for those three: red velvet, cereal crumb, and cinnamon, classic cinnamon.
How long did it take you to create the recipe? Like, and was it always going to be donuts, or like when you planned to have a vegan gluten-free bakery?
No. So literally, so my wife, she runs her own like magazines, like a parenting magazine, The London Mother. It's all online. And so she get invited out to lots of events, like to review like different places, some good, some bad, like hotels good, trampoline parks, very, very bad. Like 30 seconds, I'm out, you're finished. But invariably, everything that she would be invited to review for the magazine, there'd be like food involved. So, but most of the food had either like gluten in it or dairy in it. And like my kids, my wife, they're intolerant, so they couldn't eat anything. And it just used to really get on my nerves. It's like, why isn't there like an alternative? Why isn't anyone offering sort of an alternative for people with dietary requirements? And it just wasn't as popular back then. So I just went in the kitchen. I was like, oh, well, if no one's doing it, I'm going to try and do something myself. And it was just meant to be for them, like no one else. So I tried to come up with a few different recipes. I did brownies, which I think is probably the easiest thing to do. I did cupcakes. There was a big cupcake boom at the time. And then yeah, donuts was just one of the things that I tried. And it took really probably about 6 months to get the recipe down. Lots of trial and error with emphasis on error. Like, and the kids were young as well, so they would be like brutal, man. You would see on their face, take it out their mouth and throw it on the floor if it didn't work. But I finally came up with this recipe that worked. Everybody liked it. And it was my wife. She just said, you know what, I would pay like over the odds to get this. I'd pay over the odds for stuff in the market as it is, which is always, disappointed. You should sell it. Like, she was the entrepreneur of the family. She was like, you should sell it. So I stuck with donuts. I got rid of the brownies. I stopped doing the cupcakes, stuck with donuts because it seemed to be the thing that most people wanted. Like, if you're a celiac, you kind of want stuff that's sort of bread-based. That's the thing you miss the most. And it's emotive. Like, I like the joy that it brings people when they find out they can have it. Because that got the biggest reaction from people. I think that's the reason that I chose to go with that.
Cool. And it's like unique as well. I don't know anyone who's doing it. So are you using the rice milk in the batter as well? So is the batter nut free? Like, obviously you've got pistachios and things, but is the batter nut free?
Yeah, absolutely. So the donut itself is like free from the top 14 allergens. So we don't use any rice milk in there, but we use like a blend, like my own blend of like rice flour, gram flour. We use tapioca and potato starch. Mm-hmm. And then we use like an apple puree in the standard donuts to replace the egg. And we use coconut oil as the sort of the fat. And maple syrup just to give it a bit of sweetness and like a different kind of flavor, and just hot water. And it's just wet mix, dry mix combined in one bowl. Away you go. You
tell everybody all your secrets. Sorry, maybe like some of the American or Canadians who watch this will start their version, franchise it. That's very cool. No celery, no mustard, all those allergens. Sorry, yes, I'm like, please do. No celery, no mustard. Yeah, does anyone else have any questions for people? What was your favorite? I'm going to share the last ones because I often forget to do that for people watching on catch up. Sorry about all the dinging. I had another app open. So that was the last one we tried. And then a summary, which I actually do every single month. And I don't think I ever show you the full list like this. So now you have it. Right, I'm going to stop sharing. What was your favorite, people? Let me know in the chat. What was your favorite, Ryan?
I feel like I can feel my nan give me a filthy look if I don't say the grenada. She's not here. So my favorite was the lychee and raspberry. I just think that was incredible. Like the peanut caramel was probably a close second, and actually the white chocolate as well. But it's just me. I just really love like raspberries and chocolates, and the introduction of lychee in that, the textures in that as well. Oh my goodness. Please tell me you sell it online.
That's the aim. It's the aim. The thing is, like, I mean, like, you'll notice like my shell thicknesses, they're not what you'd expect from like, perfect chocolate. It's because I'm entirely handmade. So, right. It's basically me and a marble slab and some bowls and a heat gun. So yeah, at the moment it's quantity, and York's a busy city, so I haven't been able to get everything online that I've wanted to. But yeah, that is the aim, is that I'll get to that point soon. But yeah, the handmade thing is that's the challenge when you haven't got any of the equipment and table tempering and everything. But yeah, I'll get there. But yeah, people email me, so it's all good.
Yeah, so you can email Karen or visit York. I mean, it's a beautiful city, so good excuse for a day trip. So you can do a day trip from anywhere that's kind of north of London, I think, maybe as far as Edinburgh. I love this, that everybody has, like, all 6 chocolates I think have been mentioned by somebody. That is a good set of chocolates when every single one is a favorite of someone. I would struggle to, it really would depend on my mood. I loved all of them. Like, I think I like I was really impressed by the Grenadian cocoa tea, the caramel moon. Just found that so comforting and satisfying. So that's why I wanted that one to be the one that we finished on, because I felt like everybody would love it. And it was just so impressive, because I love that kind of chocolate, and it's rare to find in chocolate shops anyway, never mind a vegan version. So yeah, good idea. Yes. And can we all do that? Can we all send your sister shopping this one? My in-laws are from Whitby, which is where the sea salt in the last chocolate came. So I might have to get them to detour when they come to visit us this weekend. It's not much, I don't think they will. It's not nice detouring into the centre of York, but it's a nice place to go to visit. It is impossible to choose just one. Does anyone have more questions for Ryan or for Karen? I'd like to know what your career highlights are before we go, just briefly from both of you, if you don't mind. Or
career highlights.
Pardon?
Career highlights.
Yeah, I'd like to know, like, what you're most proud of, what, like, you like.
What I'm most proud of. I'm most proud of this. I think the transition after 15 years of working in chocolate, and I loved Rococo very, very much. That was my family until the and since that point I've searched for somewhere where I feel happy with the ethics, whether, you know, the cocoa and everything like that, the ingredients, the staffing, and I think creating something where I feel as much as possible I'm not creating harm to anyone or anything. And I wake up in the morning, and I mean, it's just me, and it's a lot of hard work making all the chocolate and making all the chocolates and running the business, but I wake up every morning with a clear conscience and happy with what I'm doing. And so this is definitely, it's definitely the happiest, the proudest I've been. I've had a wonderful roller coaster of a career, like probably everybody does who works with chocolate, but this is the high point for me, as an individual.
And I love all of that so much. And I just want to say that Karen has won made the chocolate that won the Golden Bean Award from the Academy of Chocolate, which is like the best truffle.
The bonbon,
Golden Bean for the bonbon, so she's got highlights that would be typical of most people's highlights, but I really love that you have created something that just gives me shivers, that it's not harming anyone or anything, and it's really doing good in the world. So thank you for putting all that effort in to do that. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm happy that the world is at a point where I could do this. I think 3 years ago, I don't know whether a plant-based chocolatier could have existed on a main street, because I'm the first city centre one, you know, with the rents and rates that go with that. And I'm not sure enough people would have come through the door, but people's attitudes are changing, and people are embracing the fact that even if you're not going to get rid of dairy and become vegan, cutting down somehow is a positive for everything. So it's those people that are coming through my door, you know, and people that are really excited. I mean, I said about the celiac and the allergen thing. I'm very aware that, you know, I use the local oats and I get the people who have nut allergies, and they're so excited and they're so disappointed because I use nuts. And there's part of me that, oh no, you know, but you can't do everything for everyone. But it's that feeling when people come in and you're giving people that are dairy free, people that are vegan, something back that they really miss, and they love it, and it's their happiness that also keeps me going, as well as the whole sourcing thing. You know, it's the customers that keep me going every day. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, that's so lovely. I read an interview that Ryan gave, and I loved that one of the things that he said he loved most about his business was being able to randomly gift to people, like just sending out, or like not charging people and sending them out donuts and stuff. I really like that as well. Like, I like sending, every month I've sent some boxes out to people just because I like them, or I know them, or respect them. And it's really nice to have a business where you can do that. And your highlight, Ryan?
Yeah, I was thinking about this this afternoon actually, and you know, there's, because of the reasons why I started the business, like literally just to provide something for the family, like a treat that they could get excited about. I guess just every little step is being good, you know, to be sold in Selfridges, like to see them in the shop in Selfridges has been amazing. But I think the highlight for me, because it's such an emotive thing, like I never set up the business because I saw an opportunity and I wanted to capitalize on it. It's because I wanted to connect with people, like to get them excited. And there was one experience that I had, which was in Selfridges actually. I'd visited Manchester and I was doing like a tasting in the Manchester store. And this lady came in and I offered her like some of the donuts and she said, oh, they look amazing. She said, oh, but I can't have any because I'm vegan. And I was like, because I'd found like the approach, like if I was to say they're gluten-free vegan donuts, people weren't really going for it. But if I said, would you like to try these donuts? They're oven baked, more people would go for it. And I had the same when I did something in Essex. People were like, if they're vegan, I'm not vegan, so that means I can't have them. And I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that at all. It's the opposite. And I'm not celiac, so I eat gluten, so I can't have these. No, you can have them. It doesn't mean that. And I said to her, oh no, they're vegan. And she's like, oh, she had her headphones in. I remember she took one of her headphones out. And then she was like, oh, and then she got excited and her face dropped again. She goes, oh, but I can't have gluten. And I was like, you're not going to believe this. Like, I'm not making it up. But they're gluten-free as well. And she was like, what? She tried it and she started crying. She started crying on the spot. I felt really awkward. I didn't know what to do. But how do I don't know. But it was like that's what I was after. That's, you know, if you make something, I don't know if Karen and Phil would say the same, but if you cook, the best compliment you could get was someone to just clean that plate, you know, maybe not say anything, but that plate is clean and they hand it back to you, you know that they enjoyed that meal and you feel like fulfilled. But to provide, you know, seeing all the frustrations of my own family, and knowing what it's like to be in an environment where you can see all these lovely things, but you can't have anything. And knowing that there's other people out there and providing them something that they can get excited about, that tastes good, that's a bit indulgent. That for me, like that woman's experience there, that I think that is a career highlight, because that's exactly what I was aiming for. And I got to see it in real time. So that was amazing.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think when you really care about what you do, when someone does react like that, that is what makes it worthwhile, because we're not just corporate things that are just after the money. We do it for a reason. And I had a similar thing with it was a guy in his 70s who did my Kickstarter campaign, and he had my chocolate orange bar that I sent out to everybody, you know, the York Classic chocolate orange. And he came into my shop and he said that, you know, he hadn't been able to have dairy in 35 years and it made him cry because it took him right back to his childhood. And yeah, it chokes you up, because you think, like, even if the business doesn't make it, it's sort of worth it just for those moments, you know. It's worth that adventure for bringing that little bit of happiness into people's lives that you don't, when you can have anything and everything, you don't appreciate how much it means to people. And it really does. Yeah,
absolutely.
You guys, this has been, what a way to have the first tasting of the year. I mean, I know we're not doing it every month this year, but that's just so inspiring. Like, I'm going to go out and do great things. I want to do what you do and feel that amazing. That's it's better than any self-help book. Thanks. I think that's a pretty special place to say goodbye. If anyone does have any questions, if you think of any, feel free to send them to me and I'll pass them on to Karen and Ryan, and I'm sure they'll happily give you an answer. Ryan's great at voicemail.
I've got baker's fingers. I do not type. Always
voice messages. Yeah, I know. And then I forget to listen to them because I can't, because I might wake Maya up and I'm like, oh crap, he sent me a message ages ago. This has been so lovely. Thank you, Karen, for making such wonderful chocolates, and thank you, Ryan, for bringing your beautiful energy to the evening. And thank you all for coming and for contributing to the chat and just being wonderful smiling faces and black squares, but you know. It's been brilliant. I hope I will see you all in February. And if you have any suggestions, I will have some announcements coming, but yes, you'll come back hopefully and see Phil. I think everybody who signed up for this one's already signed up for February, so pretty sure I'm going to see you all again. So thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your week and see you in February. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I'm heading for your website, Karen.
Okay, you're not going to find much to buy there.